Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous 12 hours. We have lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. And during this video we're going to discuss the US attack on the Iranians' nuclear sites. Lots of explosions, lots of missiles and bombs were used. We will discuss this in details. Furthermore, during this video we're going to discuss the situation in Ukraine, because according to information we have, the Ukrainians counterattacked the Russians in the area of the city of Sumy, and as a result of their counterattacks, the Ukrainians managed to restore lost positions, and the Russians, according to information we have, managed to break through Ukrainian defense in the area of the Pokrovsk agglomeration. It seems that everything is going for a cold run for the armed forces of Ukraine in this area. So let's start from the beginning, and first let's talk about Iran and US strikes. According to information we have, the United States of America several hours ago launched their own attack on the state of Iran with the purpose to destroy 3 of their nuclear facilities. And to understand what exactly the United States of America managed to achieve and what exactly they were attacking, first of all, let's talk about these nuclear sites and these nuclear facilities. So this is the city of Isfahan. And this city is located in the central part of Iran, to the south of the capital of Iran, the city of Tehran. So this is the first area that was attacked by the United States of America, and this is exactly the nuclear facility that was attacked by the United States of America. So during the previous 12 hours, several sources published this photo where we can see the consequences of previous attacks carried out by the Israeli forces, and in this picture we can compare the situation in this area at the beginning of Israeli special operation and by the end of the 21st of June. So as you can see, the Israelis managed to damage this territory heavily, and the United States of America continued this operation, but according to information we have, the United States of America were using just Tomahawk missiles to attack this territory. So the United States of America didn't use B-2 bombers and GBU-57 bombs with the purpose to destroy this territory. So this is the city of Isfahan. Now let's move further. The next area we're going to talk about is this one. This is the territory in the vicinity of the settlement by the name of Natanz, and this is Natanz nuclear enrichment facility. This enrichment facility, as you can see according to the map, is located somewhere in the middle between the city of Isfahan and the city of Tehran, somewhere in the middle. And when talking about this territory, the United States of America attacked this area as well, but furthermore, according to information we have, the United States of America attacked this territory also with Tomahawk missiles. US officials have confirmed that B-2 stealth bombers were used in tonight's American strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities. Senior Iranian officials said US forces bombed nuclear sites at Fordow and Natanz around 2:30 a.m. of local time. So once again, the Natanz nuclear facility and Isfahan nuclear facilities were attacked by the US missiles, cruise missiles of Tomahawk, and the nuclear site of Fordow, as we understand, was attacked by B-2 bombers and GBU-57 bombs. So we are talking about these areas. You can see there's just one building, but this is just the construction that is located on the surface. The main plant is located below the surface, and this is COM in uranium enrichment plant. And according to information we have, this territory was attacked by B-2 bombers with the GBU-57 bomb. And after this attack, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, posted this article in his social network saying that Fordow is gone. So according to him, the United States of America, as a result of this attack, managed to destroy this nuclear facility completely. So these are the statements, and this is the situation that we caught from the United States authorities, from the Iranian authorities, and of course now we have the most important question, whether the United States of America managed to destroy this facility or not. So let's discuss this in details, and let's try to understand whether the states managed to do this or not. First of all, let's talk about the statement that was made by the President of the United States of America right after the Fordow facility was destroyed or attacked by the US forces. We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. And now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Different Western medias made their own articles about the situation. For example, the Washington Post made article that US warplanes strike nuclear sites in Iran. CNN, the Wall Street Journal stated that Trump says US has struck 3 of Iran's nuclear sites. New York Post successful attack. The CNN, US strikes Iran, and the New York Times, US enters war with Iran. So as you can see, lots of statements, but it's unclear whether the United States of America managed to destroy them or not. Another important thing, for example, Trump to Axios stated that we achieved a great success tonight and Israel is safer now. Iran must now agree to end this war. Fordow nuclear site is finished. We carried out our highly successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. No other military in the world can do this, and many other different statements made by Donald Trump and different US authorities. But when talking about Iran and their position, obviously we see that they have completely different position about the situation. First of all, the Iranians declared or announced that US declared war on Iran. So this is not something, let's say, just to attack and that's it, and everybody will forget about this. This is already a war. Iran ready to respond, US within reach. So according to information we have, we can wait some strike, a retaliatory strike from Iranians, and they may attack every single base of the United States of America in the area within reach. But I would like to remind you that during the previous days we were talking a lot that the United States of America evacuated almost everything they could. They evacuated their base in Bahrain, in Qatar, they evacuated their bases in Iraq. So basically the Iranians don't have lots of options what to attack and whether they have lots of possibilities to destroy anything. When talking about Iranian media, they stated that from now on every American citizen and expert in the region will be a legitimate target. Another important statement, Iran says only entrance and exit tunnels of Fordow nuclear site damaged, not even destroyed, damaged after American attack. So now we can see that the United States of America says that they managed to destroy all 3 facilities, but the Iranians are saying that they managed to damage them. When talking about IAEA organization, they stated that the radiation level is normal and they don't see the increase of this level, which is also one of the proofs that the United States of America most likely haven't managed to destroy them. But maybe that wasn't the target of the United States of America. Maybe they wanted to destroy the exit and entrance to the site with the purpose not to allow the Iranian engineers or scientists to get there. So these facilities are safe, but they're blocked from the mainland, from the surface, and maybe this is the target. So who knows what exactly the United States of America were trying to get. But anyway, let's wait and see what is going to be next. As for the beginning of the 22nd of June of 2025, the Iranians launched a massive missile strike in the direction of Israel. So this morning lots of explosions were recorded all over the entire territory of Israel, lots of explosions and lots of casualties. As for the moment when I was making this video, we haven't received even a single report that, for example, the Iranians attacked even a single US base in this region, which is also very important. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation in Ukraine, because during the previous 12 hours we got really interesting and probably sometimes very strange and weird updates. And first let's talk about the Sumy direction. According to information we have, the Ukrainians managed to concentrate their forces, regroup themselves and to counterattack from the second defense layer in the northern direction with the purpose to restore control over the village by the name of Andriivka. And telling the truth, during the previous night several pro-Russian resources reported that the village of Andriivka was lost by the Russians and that they were forced to fall back from this area. But at the same time, the official Telegram channel of the Group of Forces North stated that Andriivka is under complete Russian control. Yes, there are some Ukrainian soldiers in this area, but currently the Russians are trying to clear this village once again. But when talking about geolocations, we see, for example, this video, and in this video we can see how Ukrainians were captured 12 Russian soldiers. So this moment was geolocated located exactly in this area. In this point, Ukrainians managed to capture 12 Russian soldiers. And this is the northern part of the city of Andreevka, of the village of Andreevka. And telling the truth, before this video, I adjusted the map this way, coloring the entire Andreevka and the complete Ukrainian control, because we have geolocation from the most northern part. And telling the truth, several hours ago, I didn't have any doubts that the Ukrainians managed to secure this territory. But later, the group of forces north stated that the village is still under complete Russian control, so that is why we decided to split the village of Andreevka in two parts: the northwestern under complete Ukraine control, the southeastern under Russian control. But anyway, let's wait and see what is going to be next, because there are very high chances that Ukrainians managed to restore control with this village completely. So as you can see, the situation is very weird in this area. The Russians began their secure zone operation. They captured several villages and they stopped. They haven't finished the battle for Yunakivka, and now we see that Ukrainians counterattack. And as a result of counterattacks, Ukrainians are able to restore control over some lost positions. So and now we have some doubts whether the Russians have their real plans of creation of secure zone in this area, because it seems that that was just an attempt to distract Ukrainian attention and to force them to keep forces in this area while the Russians are attacking in the main direction. And when talking about the main direction, obviously this is not the Sumy region, but obviously this is somewhere in the area of the city of Pokrovsk and the city of Konstantinovka. Now let's discuss this in details. This morning, several pro-Russian resources, I'm talking about the morning of the 22nd of June of 2025, made very interesting articles regarding the situation on the eastern and the northeastern flanks of the Pokrovsk agglomeration. The sources are saying that the situation is very difficult. So let's discuss first of all article that was published by the Ukrainian sources. Things are getting worse in the Pokrovsk direction. This article was published by a Ukrainian soldier or probably by a soldier who has connections with soldiers of the armed forces of Ukraine on the ground, so who can see the situation with their own eyes. The Russian armed forces have the initiative in almost all areas of the direction, except for the southern approaches to the agglomeration. We are talking about the southern parts, let's say the villages of Sokhiyal, so from here. So, but this direction has no matter for the Russians. The Russians have an absolutely wild advantage in force and means. But in the Salona, Vovcha, Enterfluv, and in the Novoekonomishny direction, it is simply thin. So that was stated by the Ukrainians. Of course, those areas were reinforced on our side, but it seems that reinforcements, they will never be enough. So the Ukrainians are saying that currently something happens, big problem is happening in the vicinity of Novoekonomishny, somewhere here. So this Ukrainian article was published, the first one, and then the Russians published their own article regarding the situation in this area. And what the Russians are saying about this: the units of Group of Center continued their offensive, having broken through the defense of the Ukrainian armed forces on the eastern flanks of the Pokrovsk agglomeration. It seems that the longest day of the year has also become one of the nightmarish for the Ukrainian armed forces. Thus, the troops of the 51st Army, after clearing the plantings in the area of Shevchenko, 1, Razina, Novoekonomishny, Mirne, managed to cross the river of Kazyony Torets and gain a foothold in the northern part of Novoekonomishny. Further advancements of units in the direction of Rodinska could put the Ukrainian armed forces defense in the agglomeration area on all fours. Furthermore, northeast of Rodinska, our Russian assault units answered Novotoretska and are fighting on the eastern outskirts. So what the Russians stated by this article? According to this article that was published by very reliable sources, by military press, the Russians managed to break through these fields, the Ukrainian defense in this pocket, and to enter Novoekonomishny from the northeast and to dig in deeper. Further, according to the same article, the Russians, as a result of offensive operation, managed to break through Ukrainian defense and to answer the settlement of Novotoretska from the east. So, according to this article that we've just discussed, the Russians answered Novotoretska, and currently there are very heavy clashes in the eastern part of the settlement, and the Russians, as a result of offensive operation, managed to answer the northeastern part of the city of Novoekonomishny, and there are very heavy clashes as well. So, obviously, if this information is correct, if this information is true, this is the beginning of the biggest disaster for the armed forces of Ukraine. Also, this, let's say, our author stated that the main purpose of the Russians is to move further in the western direction with the purpose to establish complete control over the settlement by the name of Rodinska. If the Russians are somehow able to establish complete control over the settlement of Rodinska, this is going to be the creation of the Pokrovsk cauldron. This is going to be no longer the Pokrovsk agglomeration, but this is going to be the Pokrovsk cauldron by the Ukrainians. Thousands of Ukrainians would be caught without any possibilities for evacuation and without any possibilities for leaving this area without huge losses. So, of course, let's wait and see what is going to be next. Obviously, we are waiting for additional geolocation, some changes on the maps of reliable sources, maybe some videos. But once again, if this information is correct, then the Ukrainians are in big trouble in this area. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation in the serious direction. According to information we have, the Russians managed to improve their position significantly in this area, and these changes on the map were published this morning by the pro-Ukrainian sources. As you can see, according to these changes, the Russians managed to establish complete control over the area from the settlement of Grigorovka in the southern directions to the village of Vernikamenska, and further in the southern direction towards the villages of Sporne and Ivanodarivka. So very huge progress on the ground was recorded by pro-Ukrainian sources, and this is also very important. The Russians are getting closer and closer to the city of Siversk itself. Furthermore, during the previous night, we got a video how Ukrainians were attacking and withdrawing the Russians in the northeastern part of the village of Serebryanka. In this video, we can see how Russians came to this area using vehicles, infantry fighting vehicles, how the Russians landed in the northeastern part of Serebryanka and probably took under control this building or massed themselves exactly in this area. So based on this video, we haven't adjusted anything because most of the geolocations we got from those territories that were already colored in Russian favor. Anyway, this is another proof that the Russians are on the territory of Serebryanka and that the Russians continue offensive operation further. Furthermore, according to information we have, the Russians carry out massive missile and drone strike in the area of Slavyansk, Kramatorsk and Drushkovka. Lots of explosions, lots of attacks with the Giran drones, lots of explosions. Ukrainians suffered huge losses, and most likely the Russians were bombing and attacking the concentration of Ukrainian forces, logistic, and everything that Ukrainians might use to stop Russian offensive and Russian breakthrough in the area of the Pokrovsk agglomeration. Now let's talk about the South Donetsk direction. Very interesting report we got from this final pocket, from this final foothold between rivers. I would like to remind you that just yesterday the Russians secured the village of Zaporozhye, and the Russians published video with flags, and the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation confirmed this information. And today, according to information we have, the Russians answered the village of Yalta, and currently there are very heavy clashes exactly for this territory. The fighting begins for the village of Yalta. The Russians are advancing. Most likely during the next several days we will color this territory also in Russian favor. Furthermore, according to the group of forces east, they managed to cross the river of Mokre Yale, and the Russians are saying that currently the clashes are taking place already on the territory of the village of Perebudova. Most likely this village would be colored in Russian favor or as a contested area during the next 24 or 48 hours. So the Russians continue offensive, and the Russians are not planning to stop at all. And that's it for the short video. Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for your watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.